it's comfortable, I don't care. But there are people that figure it should be an icebox in there. Yeah.
One more thing, Steve.
Oh, yeah, I've got to work on some of it. It's coming out at the coil at 32 degrees. Yeah, by the time it gets to you, it's going to be 50.
Yeah, that was floorboards from Walt's house or somewhere, and then it only
How's the parks department, man?
How have you been? Having a good summer?
You have your pen.
Really? Yeah.
We have all 100% funded through the snowmobile program.
A lot of snowmobiles down this year, right?
I did.
Just donate the money.
Is that one of my son's named the road.
It is.
And I've got to be his hair.
It's a conundrum, isn't it?
They'll come around and they'll go like right below. And they'll paw and I'll hear them and so then I'll
Well, I don't think they're ever been.
Not on people's private property.
Just sit there. Oh, no, that part.
every day.
Oh, Lord, they are. I didn't either. You know, actually,
They want to spend. But they found your time. They let me I had a bottle of corn at a dime.
All right, then, Jim, you're the man. You're the man. Signed off.
Now they've come back. They've got a stadium.
There's always some shit that's going to go down with the next crop.
I'll call this meeting to order. Please, roll call by the county clerk.
We have 26 present and 4 absent.
Please rise to Pledge of Allegiance. Gary, if you have any voice left, you want to lead us? You. Yes.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a second. Please be seated. We're in compliance with open meetings law, Mr. Lucky.
We are, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as printed. So moved by Mr. Paulson, second by Turbo Heights. Anybody see anything that needs to be moved around for any reason? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Agenda is approved. Approval of the June 9th, 2026 meeting minutes. Mr. Brogler.
I move for approval of June meetings.
Second.
Second by Mr. Paulson. Anybody see any mistakes or changes that they? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Before we move to communications, I just want to make a brief announcement. I want to thank Supervisor Christensen and Supervisor Gulag for our new framed Declaration of Independence in the back of the room. They did a nice job, and I think it looks good there. So, thank you very much, gentlemen, and good addition, especially our 250th year. All right. So, communications, Audrey.
You have the notice of public hearing for planning and zoning, which is July 16th, 2026 at 7 PM. And then you should also have the treasurer's monthly report.
Thank you. Public comment. Do we have any public comment?
I don't believe we have the treasurer's report at our desk. Anybody else have it?
Let's see. I don't.
Okay.
It's the last page of the. Little bit different.
That's new.
Oh, I see it. Okay. Way in the back. It's usually a different color.
Yes, and separate.
Any public comment? Is there anybody signed up back there? No. Stacy says no. Okay. Very good. Then special order of business, retirement recognitions. Mr. Lucky.
So we do have a couple people not here, and I will just read their names and years of service. We thank them for their time with the county. Janine Eng, who retired from Human Services after 3 years and 1 month. Roxanne Whitty, who retired from Human Services, but she had worked in a number of different county departments after 22 years and 4 months of dedicated service. Jane Hinsman, who retired after 26 years and 2 months from the Finance Department. And then I see Marcia here, Marcia Krull. And so on Saturday was my 3-year anniversary of working for the county. But I met Marcia 5 years ago. She was the first county employee I ever met because she probably, I don't know if she wants me to say or not, Marcia is a very talented musician. She is a former music educator and a singer. And I met her because she does the organ and cantering for our local parish. And so it was a surprise seeing her walk the halls of the courtroom. And she has always been so gracious and welcoming to me, explaining things about the Clerk of Court's office. And she's retiring after 35 years and 9 months of service in the Clerk of Court's office. So, Marcia, we have a certificate and a plaque for you as well. So. Here you are. Thank you very much for your service to the county. And if you want to say any words, you're welcome to. Otherwise, here you are.
I'll keep it short, and I wasn't prepared to speak, but I do want to thank the county board. As a county employee, I have always been ever grateful for the benefits that we receive, for the advocacy that you do on our behalf for employee retention, so that my fellow clerks at the Clerk of Court's office and other courthouse staff that so faithfully serve are able to remain with the county because of the health insurance and other benefits we receive. I have always tried with young clerks. I typically trained the clerks in the Clerk of Court's office for clerking in our courtrooms, and as part of my training would always try to emphasize to them the goodness of our county benefits and being under the umbrella of the Wisconsin State Retirement System, which now at age 65 and having just retired, I'm seeing the fruits of. And I've been very, I think, transparent or open with these clerks as I step away. I had my retirement meeting with the WRS, and I was vocal with these other clerks saying, look at the goodness of staying here in our courts, that's our office, but here in Jefferson County. So thank you for your good work. I've always been watchful and mindful of the work of the county board, and I continue to encourage you to do your good work. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, everyone else was not here.
With that, we end reports of human services.
So as Brent's making his way up here, we heard some feedback from you and department heads that we wanted to do annual reports a little bit differently going forward than we had in the past. This ran through executive committee. We made some changes. All annual reports are published on the website. They were all published on July 3rd. We were received unison, and so it makes it a little bit that the report is closer to the actual date. So for instance, administration, we present in December. Last December, I presented in December 2025 on the 2024 annual report. So I was looking almost 2 years in arrears. So we changed things around to have everyone report on July 3rd. That does a couple things for us operationally. It helps us look at the goals we set for ourselves in the past year as we begin formulating our budgets for next year, and makes everything a little bit more streamlined in terms of checking in on how we did and reporting out on those metrics. It also makes it closer for everyone to be able to look back at a year a little bit more recently. And the third thing we're going to do is, instead of having everyone read their annual reports and go through longer presentations to you, we're just asking all department heads to come up here and just give a brief overview of themselves and their department so you can all put a face with a name. But we're not going to have everyone go through the annual reports. Again, those are all presented on the website under reports and plans. They're available right now if you wish to read them. And we can also present hard copies if you'd like, particularly of someone's like Brent's that's going to be a little bit longer of a hard copy. So hopefully you like this format. If not, we can always go back to the executive committee and ask them to revise the guidance. But I think this will be better overall for everyone. So we'll give it a try. And thank you for being our guinea pig.
Thank you. Good evening. We'll see how I do with the new format. But it's my pleasure to be here to present 2025 annual report on behalf of Human Services. My name is Brent Relo. I'm our director at Human Services, and I really wish we had the time for me to list off all of our employees by name. And why I say that is they're the folks that operationalize everything I'm going to talk about here in the next couple of minutes. So I do want to give them all the credit. And I know if I did try to read all their names, Michael would show me the door probably very quickly. What I love about giving the annual report is it hits on something we talk about in terms of, or what's known as the gap and the gain. And the gap really is when we stand now and we look forward, we see this kind of chasm of all the work we need to do to get to our goals. And what annual report time does is allows us to actually look back at the gain and recognize all the things that we've done. And really, we're trying to do a better job of really slowing down and really recognizing the gains that we have. So I'm really excited to share some of these gains with you here this evening. So I've been with Jefferson County Human Services for the grand total of about 25 years. When I was sitting next to Marcia, she reminded me that when she met me, I was just a young social worker. So I like to think I'm still a young social worker, although my children remind me I'm not young. In 2026, we have about 263 full-time staff across 5 divisions and 32 teams at Human Services. Our current budget is $40,822,216, and that's across 3 areas or buckets of monies. The first one being state and federal allocations from Department of Children and Families and Department of Health Services. The second one being revenue, or what we call revenue, that's charges, fees, and what we bill to insurances. And the last bucket would be the levy that the county board approves for Human Services each and every year, which we are grateful for. In terms of current projects and current focus, one of our big focus recently, as you know, is the onboarding of our first medical director as a full-time employee at Human Services. We are grateful for Dr. Hagert and all that he brought us over his years. He was actually a contracted provider who certainly had the feel of a full-time Jefferson County employee, but we did make that transition with your support. We're excited about that, and she's already leading what we're calling our medical cohort, which includes 2 prescribers, 2 psychiatrists, and herself as she's finding some efficiencies that we're pleased to see. Some other accomplishments, we are working with MIS and making progress on updating our electronic health record. We're actually developing a provider portal for our providers to submit not only billing, but all of their notes that we need to review. In our in our community support program, that's CSP, that's the area that serves our individuals with severe and persistent mental illness. We just finally, after a year and a half of recruitment, filled our second RN position down there. And we're really excited about that as we tie in physical health with mental health out in the field. She, who just started, will be out in the field providing injectable medications, working on diabetes education and things of that nature. So excited to get that off the ground. Our social media presence, I continue to talk a lot about that as we want to really brand ourselves and share what we're doing across the community. If you look today, we had another great social media post highlighting the Mott Center, and really Ryan Roker is not here, but with his help, we've been able to add a number of press releases and articles in the paper as well to highlight everything that's going on at Human Services. Staff recruitment and retention is always top of mind as we continue to look for ways to support staff. We recently added a podcast. We recently added a director's newsletter to really get to leadership and our why. And our focus is always on hospitalization and child placement. For those of you on Human Services Board, you know that that's top of mind in terms of our budget considerations each and every day, frankly. As far as what's on our radar for the future, we have a significant space issue. And as you know, you saw a space study RFP come before you, and John Fox, who is here, has been instrumental in that. A big thank you to him and Administrator Michael Lucky as we had our kickoff yesterday for the space study and are eagerly awaiting how that will turn out as we look at staff participation, which will allow lots of great feedback. As some of you may or may not know, we actually handle monies for a number of individuals. Their Social Security comes to our office. Sometimes employment checks come right to our office, and we handle their monies to make sure that they have the funds to get from paycheck to paycheck. That assures landlords that they're going to get paid right from Human Services and allows us to provide some fiscal education. We're moving that from what's known as kind of a sending out a check model to an online portal with a debit card. And so that'll allow a lot of efficiencies and allow us to be much more nimble. Something that we're very nervous about is we saw cuts from Department of Children and Families last year in something called 4E funding, which is really a way that the state reimburses counties, and they did that by virtue of how many children are in placement. Well, the good news is the state of Wisconsin has many less children, in placement, Jefferson County included, but that cost Jefferson County Human Services last year about $248,000, and we're afraid that'll be the same cut that we see this year in allocations. We're excited to continue our tradition of having mental health in our local schools. We just applied for a branch location to provide mental health services in Lake Mills School District. So once that is approved, we'll provide mental health services in their middle school and in their elementary school, and that'll bring us up to 8 districts across the county to include 16 schools. Something we thought you all might find interesting is we're exploring an on-site pharmacy model, and that's a little bit like what it sounds like. We have many individuals that do receive medication, and there's some issues associated with transportation and picking up those meds, and so we are looking to partner with a local pharmacy to build a little brick and mortar pharmacy at our location where individuals can meet with our prescriber and get their medication filled right on site and really decrease some of the concerns that we have if individuals don't receive their medication. You hopefully will see this as soon as next month, but we are proposing the creation of a new quality assurance specialist position. As folks may be aware, there's great changes federally to food share and other public benefit programs, and one byproduct of some changes to food share would be if the state of Wisconsin incurs errors in their application process greater than 6%, is as a state, we would then incur some federal penalties. So 6% and above, you would incur federal penalties roughly to the tune of about $58 million across the state of Wisconsin. So what the legislature did in terms of some great advocacy is they dedicated monies for the consortiums to fully fund at the county level some quality assurance specialists. So you will see a resolution, hopefully after it goes through Human Resources and Finance next month, for Jefferson County to be a leader in that area and have one of those positions here locally. Notable 2025 successes. We navigated the federal shutdown as all departments did. That might mean in the morning we heard that food stamp recipients were not going to get any money, and in the afternoon we heard that they were going to get all of their funding. And that's kind of how it worked in a lot of our programs during the federal shutdown. We also worked very closely with Highway and Finance to replace 18 of our vehicles to make sure they're still under warranty on a year-to-year basis. We developed and implemented a full-time reentry coordinator position with opioid funds. And what that really means is working with our jail to identify the individuals that are going to get released from jail and make sure we literally pick them up, coordinate a discharge time, and we bring them back to Human Services to enroll them in public benefits, get them signed up for services, and really eliminate that gap that's so kind of treacherous to navigate as you wait for appointments that could be 2 or 3 weeks in the future. So we've eliminated that gap. Everybody at County Board has been so supportive of our Mott Center. 2025 was our first calendar year of our Mott Center. We had 170 admissions from 21 different counties, and that number will be much bigger in 2026. So a big thank you to each and every one of you. We have a comprehensive community services program. It's one of our biggest programs, staff-wise and consumer-wise. And in 2025, we served 244 consumers, and that means these individuals needed more support than a clinic, outpatient clinic can offer. So we served 244 individuals ranging from age 5 to 69, and they met 82% of their service plan objectives. So very proud of what they've been able to accomplish. And because of the growth of that program, in 25, we also implemented 2 team leads to assist. We also fulfilled over 95% of all medical rides, and that might mean a ride to your local provider for a checkup all the way through something as serious as dialysis. Our Children's Long-Term Support Program is a program that serves individuals with severe emotionally disturbed individuals, physical disabilities, as well as cognitive disabilities. We are serving over 550 children in that program alone and have nearly 27 staff at this point. So we built out that infrastructure and added a manager position in 2025 as well. It's really helped, again, build out that infrastructure. So thank you very much. Our intake unit, they're the unit that receives all the calls from the community about child abuse and neglect. They met all state and federal standards at an over a 99% success rate. The state average was 84%. And so DCF, again, for the second year in a row, reached out to us and asked us to provide technical assistance to other counties in terms of culture building and implementation of those expectations. And then 2 of our parents supporting parents received the Governor's Award entitled Putting Families First, and that is for all the vital supports they provide to parents in our child welfare system. And then with Michael's vision, we were able to operationalize the Financial Empowerment Center, the FEC, that we had a soft launch in the summer and then launched to the public in September. And then the last, something we've really focused on in 2025 is quarterly leadership meetings for all 29 of our supervisors, focusing on consistency, professional development, focusing on our North Star. And we're going to finish this year by reading Why Leaders Eat Last. And that's a great book by Simon Sinek that really gets to kind of the circle of safety and building that culture. And as a leader, recognizing your privilege and putting that behind the needs of your teams. And so we'll be doing that to end out 2026. So with that being said, a big thank you to County Administrator Michael Lucky, our Human Services Board, and of course all of you at the county board level. Without your support, the accomplishments that we talked about, the items on our radar would simply not be possible. So truly, thank you very much, and thank you to all of our staff back at the agency. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Okay, I didn't know if I closed. Yes.
What's the name of the podcast and where is it streaming?
Ooh, so this is a poor man's podcast, and what we are doing is I am the podcast host. I record it on a recording device, and we just send it out to our staff. So if you'd like it, I can certainly send it to you. But it really is just internally used, and it's one-on-one with me and a staff member. We talk about work, certainly, and then we really get to some fun activities around who they are, and staff have really enjoyed meeting people that they normally won't see. So I can certainly share that if you'd like. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, thanks, Brent.
All right, thank you.
Next would be, Corporation Counsel.
Star of the new podcast, Legal Advice.
I'm going to be much briefer than Brent. I'm going to follow the format. So, my name is Danielle Thompson. I'm the Corporation Counsel. I will have been here 3 years in October, but I have been practicing in Jefferson County for 14. As far as my staff, my department consists of 5 attorneys, including myself. 1.5 of those attorneys are dedicated solely to child support. And then I also have a paralegal, Serena, in my office. My budget is teeny, $536,000, and that is largely just the cost of personnel, training, and our reference materials and supplies. As far as my current focus, so my office provides general counsel to 26 different departments with very diverse functions and the county board. We also represent the county in all mental health commitments and protective placements and child welfare cases. So the focus of our office is largely dictated by the priorities of the rest of the county. No 2 days are the same for us. What we have planned for the day inevitably changes based on whatever high priority issue pops up. But if I had to say something that was taking the most amount of my time right now, I would say it is land use issues, you zoning fellows. As far as what is on my radar for the future, when time allows for other projects, my office is having an increased focus on risk management. So that includes reviewing, updating, drafting internal policies. We're participating in quarterly meetings with our insurance providers and looking at increased training opportunities. As part of that, we're working with other staff on a project to rewrite the personnel ordinance. Generally, we're trying to create an administrative policy and procedure manual that aligns more with current practices and provides some clear governance. And then also, based on the current landscape, I've identified a need to advance my understanding and knowledge in public sector labor relations. So I am currently working towards National Labor Relations Professional Certification, which includes attending a number of academies and then a test at the end. For notable successes, in 2025, we identified the need to address the growing impact of AI in our workforce, both from a risk and an opportunity perspective. So my office coordinated a stakeholder group of employees and helped to institute a pilot program to test AI products. We have also drafted an AI policy for implementation, which is before the board today. Another success is I worked with the Planning and Zoning Department to implement a procedure for the citation method of ordinance enforcement, which the county hadn't done in quite some time. That has resulted in the prosecution of 50 plus citations in the last few months, and with that, increased compliance. So that's all I have for you, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions for corporate counsel? Questions? Seeing none, thank you, Danielle. Next is Register of Deeds.
Okay, so I morphed mine. Little of Bronze, a little bit of Danielle, and a lot of Stacy. So good afternoon. I'm Stacy Hoffman, for those that don't know me. I've had the privilege of serving as your Register of Deeds for nearly 2 decades. My journey with Jefferson County began about 29 years ago. I started as the bookkeeper for child support. Then I went on to Chief Deputy Treasurer, and now I'm an elected official just like you guys. So. With the new format, we're supposed to keep it quick and simple, but I need to say how awesome the Register of Deeds office is. We make money and we don't spend that much money. So I say that every year, and I'm going to keep doing that until I'm no longer here. So we managed just about $2.7 million in revenue last year. Granted, a lot of that goes to the state, but we did transfer about $800,000 to general fund and another $103,000 to our land information program. Our budgets are about, our expenses are about $421,000, but I only have control over $21,000 of it. The rest is all fixed costs that I can't control. So I say I have a $21,000 budget. Our office is small and mighty, but we've worked hard this past year to keep things running smoothly. Thanks to cross-training and teamwork with our treasurer's office, we've stayed efficient and responsive to our customers' needs. I need to have a special shout out to my ROD staff, and Brent, I can list all 3 of them. Kayla, Chris, and Miani. Their dedication allows me to participate in many other things besides just county work. So I can do boards and associations outside the county that help benefit Jefferson County. So I serve on the Wisconsin County's Board of Directors, the Wisconsin Public Records Board, PRIA Local, Wisconsin Land Information Association, and of course the Register of Deeds Association. Our office serves every member of our community. When I say every member, I mean every member, because we have birth, marriage, death, and all land records in our office. So whether you live or die, sell or buy, and everything in between, your records are protected in our office. And for those of you that know, we do have to keep our records for forever. So every land transaction from the beginning of the county and every, I'm going to say not every vital record, but every vital record that was turned into the county is in our office. So we're consistently looking for ways to do things better and more efficiently and to save money for the county by using technology and reviewing our processes. Currently, we're focused on finishing our back indexing project. We have about 135,000 documents to back index, but that's not bad because we have 1.5 million documents, so we've been really busy over the last 20 years that I've been in office. And we're also planning to digitize all those old vital records that the state doesn't have. So that's our goal for next year if you let me have it in the budget. So looking ahead, our goals are very clear. We plan on finishing indexing, protecting our oldest records, and keep building a resilient team so that these efforts will help ensure smooth transitions and services throughout the future years. So I do have a quick PSA. If all of you have not signed up for our property fraud alert, it's a free property fraud alert. Please do that tonight when you go home. There are several counties that are getting hit right now with I'm not gonna say it wrong, seller impersonation fraud. So people are trying to take property that isn't theirs and selling it by pretending to be them. And it's usually property that is vacant and where your tax bill is going somewhere other than where that property address is. So be sure and sign up. Be sure and go tell all your families and friends to sign up for that too. So other than that, I want to thank you for your continued support, and it's been a privilege to serve with you guys. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Stacy?
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Thank you, Stacy. And last tonight, UW Extension.
Hi there, good evening. I am Chrissy Wen. I'm an Area Extension Director. I've been serving Jefferson County for 9 years, although I've been with Extension for a little over 20 years. I do serve 3 counties, so I serve Jefferson, Rock, and Walworth counties within my capacity. We have 8 staff within the Extension Department, and our budget is about $355,000. Current focus for us is really extending the mission of Extension, which is serving out the Wisconsin idea to the community within Jefferson County. So we provide research, education to advance community priorities related to economic vitality, community well-being, sustainable resource management, and much more. So our educators that are within the Extension office deliver educational programs right to people where they live, work, and play throughout the county. So in crops and soils, dairy, horticulture, community development, and then of course our 4-H program. So our work isn't always front and center as much of our work within the county is, it's like behind the scenes, right? A lot of us are working behind the scenes to make things happen. And it usually lives within our farmers making choices. It lives with our community leaders that are making choices for their communities, and or our youth that are growing and learning and developing leadership skills. So at the heart of it all, our work is about the people. We help individuals, families, communities develop knowledge, resilience, and connections needed to address challenges early and reduce long-term public costs. So what's in our future for the radar is we're excited about some new 4-H clubs that we have on the horizon, some new 4-H opportunities within some schools, and so getting more youth involved in our 4-H program. That's something that's on our radar all the time, but next year we have some new opportunities that are surfacing. And then as far as notable successes, we served just under 3,000 individuals, and we collaborated with over 75 local organizations over the course of 2025. In addition to the educators that are within the office, we have state specialists and a lot of program managers that come into the county to deliver programming. And they also connect with our county departments to do that. So we're really excited about the amount of education that we can bring into Jefferson County. Beyond all of the staff that are within Extension, that because of this partnership we can bring into the county, we also support 195 volunteers within Extension who has served just over 8,000 hours back into the community because of the work that they're doing. So these are 4-H volunteers, Master Gardener, Water Action volunteers, and then Master Naturalist volunteers that are within in the communities. I mentioned our 4-H program. The 4-H program currently has 124 adult volunteers and 452 youth, and I hope to have those numbers up by next year. And 102 of our littlest youth, our youngest youth, 5K through 2nd graders, so we have 102 of those folks in the program. Talking about a return on investment, those volunteer hours contributed just over $282,000 back into the community if you look at the cost of volunteer hours. So I'm going to wrap up there. I would like to, this is our newest brochure that might or may not be at your table. So take a look. This is who we are. I would invite all of you to participate in any of our programs. Many of them are open to everyone, and you're welcome to attend to see what's happening in the community with the Division of Extension, or you can check out our website or call me or any of the educators. They're more than willing to share what they are up to in the community. And thank you for your support. Any questions?
Questions? Ms. Kaiser?
Do you do any work with the seedling project that's located in the Watertop Library?
Julie Hill is our horticulture specialist, and she is not directly involved, but she does partner with them on different programs. So you may see her name out in the library, yeah. And she also, Julie answers a lot of horticulture questions. So many times the people that, since she partners with the libraries, folks that come in that may have questions about different things, they turn her directly to Julie, and she can answer those directly. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any others? See none? Thank you, Christy. Takes us to the County Administrator, EMS Education session.
Thank you. And just a reminder as I'm pulling it up, if you would like to see those annual reports of any department that either presented today or any others, they are all available on our website already. And I just need to be able to share. I think it's sent. There we go. Okay. Okay. So, EMS Education Session 3. So, what you might expect as we start talking about EMS Education Session 3, we're going to begin by talking about, where's my dramatic reveal? Okay, the timing is really screwing me up here because I had there we go. Libraries, everyone. We're going to start off by talking about libraries. Why, you ask? Well, I will tell you. Under Wisconsin statute, section 66.0602, there are certain exemptions that are available to the levy limit law. The levy limit law, written there, says, except as is provided in subs 3, 4, and 5, no political subdivisions, that means towns, cities, villages, school districts, technical college districts, anyone, may increase its levy in any year by a percentage that exceeds the political subdivision valuation factor, blah, blah, blah. But there are certain exemptions under Section 3. So except as provided, the levy limit does not apply to the following. And I only copied four of about 10, but the reasons that I did will become very clear. One of them is for the amount that a county levies in that year for County Children with Disabilities Education Board. And at our latest Finance Committee meeting, we talked about a county's experience when we had a countywide levy that exceeded the levy limit for a County Children with Disabilities Education Board. Section 3 deals with the amount that a county levies in that year under Section 82.082 for bridge and culvert construction or repair. Many of you on the Highway Committee will remember certain debates and discussions that came about as to whether the county ever had enacted something like this in the past. Then number 4 is the amount that a county levies in that year to make payments to public libraries under Section 43.12 of the statutes. And finally, number 6, the amount that a county levies in that year for a countywide emergency medical system. And that is what we're going to be focusing on. So how does the library formula work? We currently collect a non-countywide library levy that funds municipal libraries that are used by non-municipal residents. So quick show of hands among the county board, how many of you live in a town? So none of you are served by your taxes, your town taxes, to a library, but all of you are guaranteed access to a Jefferson County library. The reason for that is that we fund a formula that guarantees access for town residents to access municipal library services of Jefferson County. It's based on a formula that divides operating costs by residents and non-residents, and that division is based on the number of circulations, which would be units checked out, because there are certain digital and obviously book circulation units as well. But since municipalities already levy a tax for libraries, cities with library levies are not included in the county's levy. So the numbers that I'm going to share will look a little bit different than what you might be used to. The way we calculate it is we take all of the operational expenses from the previous year's state annual report. So we plan a year, we use numbers that are a year old. We take all 9 libraries in the county, sum up their operational expenses, and we set that number aside. Then we calculate the ratio of circulation to county residents who live in munis with libraries, and then we divide non-library circulation, so that would be town residents, and we come up with a ratio, which is about 21% or so. And then we multiply that ratio by the sum of the operational expenses we got in step 1, and that determines what our county levy is going to be. So we base it in a very real sense off of the usage on circulation numbers from the prior year. We also add a few small things in there. We have a distribution formula that limits decreases in any given year, and we do add a small administrative stipend to because the Bridges Library System runs our library system for us, so we give them, $1,500 a year. And then there's a reimbursement factor for any adjacent county that is reimbursed at 70% of cost. Because as we know, with any government system, usually the services provided, it's difficult to say where they end across municipal boundaries and county boundaries even sometimes too. So by the numbers, our equalized value for the library levy is $6.2 million, just shy of 6.3. Our library levy was $1.3 million, which means our mill rate for 2026 was 0.2101. That was a slight increase, $25,000 or just shy of 2% increase over the prior year. And the mill rate, because the equalized value went up more than the levy did, actually decreased a slight amount. Well, slight amount nominally, but a large percentage relatively. It was 0.0141 decrease or 6.3%. The historic high for our library levy, at least for the past 10 years, was when we had a mill rate of 0.3414. So let's apply what we know about libraries to EMS with some hypothetical numbers. But first, I want to provide some information from a memorandum that actually Supervisor Quimby provided to me after a recent education session in Stevens Point that she attended earlier this month on EMS. It is a memorandum for the Legislative Reference Bureau, which are a group of attorneys that represent the legislature in a nonpartisan way, dated March 12th of 2021. They were responding to an inquiry from Representative Alex Dahlman from the Green Lake area about, quote, whether county boards that provided countywide EMS by contracting out to existing municipal and private EMS providers are still eligible for the levy limit exemption. Similar to something that's being done in Portage County that we talked about last month. The short answer is yes. That is an eligible use of the levy limit exemption. The longer answer is the state has not taken issue with this in the past. The DOR has not investigated or pursued any alternatives from counties. However, the courts have heard a case relating to whether or not this type of structure is legal, but the actual levy limit exemption use has not been directly challenged in court. So while it is, I think, clear to me in statute that this would be allowable, the courts have not weighed in on this question, and that could always change things. But in the memo, it states, likely the most important element of whether a system is countywide is whether the territory to which EMS are offered encompasses the entire county, which is something that this group has been considering. So where we're at with an EMS funding formula, remember the library funding formula is based off of circulation ratios and prior year operations. The EMS working group voted just last week on July 8th to support a funding formula based on 50% on population, 25% on land area, and 25% on equalized value. They did look at some other considerations which were not incorporated into their recommendation at this point, but you as policymakers always could incorporate these. They did not incorporate call volume, and therefore they did not incorporate call density. They wish to include, but is not included in this representation, some type of area modifier. So for instance, an EMS provider that has a significant portion that's just covered of like surface area of Lake Koshkonong, the question is, should that be maybe a reduction in their area total? But an area where I-94 runs through, that's a very small amount of area with a very large amount of EMS presence, so should we maybe give a slight upper there? And then also the question of just do we give a baseline allocation that's equal to everyone? All of those were considered, not included, but even their inclusion would only alter the numbers that I'll share at the end here somewhat, but not dramatically. At their prior meeting on June 10th, they had requested by vote that I approach the Finance Committee with their request for 0.5 mils at a countywide levy. The Finance Committee, at their earlier July meeting, signaled some openness to support a level of a quarter mil, 0.25 mils, but they did have some requests, and I will get to what those are because I think they are reasonable. So those numbers, the equalized value countywide, again, is higher than what the levy one, the library one is because it includes all municipalities as well. And the equalized value for the whole county this year is $12.5 billion. Our mill rate, if you look just operationally, is 2.3193. We generally include our operational and debt together to give our general mill rate number. That's 2.7391. So if you were to add a quarter mil onto that, that would bring the mill rate to 2.9891, which would be a mill rate increase of 9.13% over the base this year. We know going into 2027 that we've seen a historic growth of equalized value. We kind of see that rising always faster than a levy does, which means our mill rate kind of naturally reduces. That was direction given by the Finance Committee during the last budget, was make sure we don't increase the mill rate. So something like this, it's hard to say exactly what the mill rate would be in 27 if you adopt it, but there would be an increase that you would vote for. A quarter mil, to put it in dollars, is $3.14 million. What this would mean for an average taxpayer. The average home value, I looked it up today on Zillow, in Jefferson County is $372,000. So a quarter mil on the average home in Jefferson County as of today would mean a tax increase of $93 on the property tax bill. The flip side that I was asked to share by the EMS working group is that an increase of a quarter mil also means 40 new paramedics in Jefferson County, or the equivalent thereof. You probably can't see this slide very well, but I will share it with you in detail if you'd like. This is one of the pages from our budget document, and it goes into the budget summary by department. So again, a quarter mil is a $3.1 million request. When you look at our tax levy, Danielle indicated what her levy is. $3.1 million is larger than pretty much any one of our departments on their own. We fund the sheriff's department with our highest amount of levy. That's $16 million of levy goes to the sheriff's office. Our next highest levy user is our human services department at $9.5 million. They receive about $30 million, as Brent had shared earlier today, between funding from different state and federal agencies. And we fund our highway at $5.5 million as well. So this would be on the higher end of what we would fund any department, much greater than, for instance, what is funding administration, facilities, Fair Park, others. So this would be a pretty significant shift in how EMS is funded, with a county taking on a much larger share. Now, other counties do this. It's not unprecedented, but it would be a significant change here. So as a reminder, so you can all quickly look at your map, find where you live, reformat yourself with the EMS agencies by you. So when I go to the next slide, you can look very quickly for the EMS agencies what the impact of a quarter mil would be on their budgets. And next slide. Hopefully you can see those numbers. So starting from the top, a quarter mil under the funding formula recommended by the EMS working group would mean $18,000 annually for Cambridge, $35,000 annually for the Edgerton EMS, $645,000 annually for Fort Atkinson, $240,000 for Ixonia, $424,000 for Jefferson, $222,000 for Johnson Creek, $276,000 for Lake Mills, $209,000 for Palmyra, $181,000 for Waterloo, $511,000 for Watertown, $204,000 for Western Lakes, and $171,000 for Whitewater. So what does that chart mean? Well, we talked about the formula factors, and if it chooses to remain at population, equalized value, and area, this is all information we can gather pretty easily, and the funding formula will not be very complicated. If you choose to add additional factors such as call volume, there will need to be a standardization of data, because departments might report their call volume uniformly amongst their history, but maybe not uniformly amongst everything else. So for instance, a call that has multiple injuries might be reported as 3 separate calls because you have 3 different people, or some agencies might report it only as 1. Some other factors. What about agencies that don't receive enough to hire new staff? If this is all meant to stabilize and add additional staff, Cambridge is getting $18,000. That's not going to buy a paramedic. It might buy some additional paid on call or paid on premises time. It might help defray the cost of a new paramedic, but it's not going to add another paramedic in the Cambridge area. And then how do you ensure compliance? How do you ensure that the funding is actually used for what the county board prioritizes? The Finance Committee asked all these questions and more. So what is this funding limited to? Is it limited to operations? Does operations include only staffing, or does it include training? Should it be used for capital? How do you require some type of maintenance of effort to show that you're not just offsetting municipal levy with county levy? What do we do with those town contracts, which are one of the first reasons we got involved in this? Can you tie some type of funding consideration contingent upon a municipality having an agreement with their town in a format that is standardized by the county that includes funding formulas? What happens if the town wants to drag their feet and it's not their fault, it's not the municipality's fault that they can't get anything done? Do they lose out on funding? What would be the levy impact on towns? That was another question here that started this whole thing. You have some towns that are paying, all but $40,000 of their levy just on fire and EMS contracts. Will this provide them relief? Will this impact response times? Will this impact service levels? Will this impact stability? Are we running the most efficient system we possibly can today? And if not, can we tie some of this funding to other efficiency requirements? What will this commit us to in the future? What does the public think of this? All of these are questions that still remain. They are questions that I think need to be answered by me, also by you, and by different stakeholder groups. So I met on last Friday, with municipal leaders. I'm going to meet with town leaders. We're going to meet with fire chiefs, so we're going to keep moving forward on this. But I wanted to let you all know, particularly this slide, because I think this is where the rubber starts to meet the road, and we're at an inflection point of the Finance Committee signaled some support in exchange for certain other things to this concept. If this comes before the board, start thinking about these real numbers and what that might mean an impact on the taxpayers, on the county budget, and on municipal budgets, and on service delivery by EMS. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Mike? Oh, there's a lot of information there. And we'll continue to update as we go along. Thank you, Michael. All right. Takes us up. Committee reports, resolution and ordinances, buildings and grounds, resolution authorizing contract for gate operators at the highway maintenance property. Supervisor Risto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have resolution number 2026-16, authorizing a contract for gate operators at the highway maintenance property. Jefferson County Highway Maintenance property, located at 1425 South Wisconsin Drive in Jefferson, was struck by lightning in mid-April. An insurance claim was submitted and has reached a settlement in the amount of $39,000. The highway maintenance property has two 36-foot wide gates, each 18-foot biparting chain link gates operated by 4 power operators. The manufacturer of the existing operators has stopped production for this model and does not have parts to repair the operators damaged by the lightning strike. The county administrator authorized waiver of the competitive sealed bidding process pursuant to section 8-64, parent D, parent 4, due to the highly specialized nature of the work. The Jefferson County Director of Facilities requested proposals from 4 different contractors and received proposals from 2 of these bidders. PowerGate Operator Systems was selected because of their responsive bid and prior work experience with the county, with a bid in the amount of $43,418, which I would note is the lower bid. The Director of Facilities checked references to ensure this bidder would be able to perform the work as required and received positive responses. Pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Section 59.52, parent 29, parent A4, a Class 1 Notice of Public Contract was published on July 3, 2026. This resolution authorizes the county administrator to contract with PowerGate Opener System at an estimated project price of $43,418 for gate operators for the highway maintenance property. On July 6, 2026, the Building and Grounds Committee considered the proposal and recommended forwarding it on to the county board for approval. Fiscal note, $39,000 from insurance proceeds. The balance of $4,418 will come from the Highway Machinery and Equipment Fund. So no budget amendment is required. Mr. Chairman, I move adoption of this resolution.
Moved by Mr. Risto, second by Mr. Jekyll. Questions? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the resolution passes. Item 11, Finance Committee, resolution funding a part-time public health nurse position in the Health Department and amending the 2026 budget. Mr. Jekyll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution number 2026-17. The Jefferson County Health Department is requesting authorization to fund a part-time public health nurse position using the available public health infrastructure grant carryover funds. The position is already included in the 26 budget, but is currently unfunded. Funding this position would provide critical support to the communicable disease division, including follow-up of reportable communicable diseases and case investigation, outbreak response, documentation, provider coordination, and public education. Communicable disease follow-up is required and a time-sensitive local public health responsibility. Additional nursing capacity will improve the department's ability to respond promptly, reduce disease transmission, maintain compliance with the state public health expectations, and support continuity of operations without increasing tax levy. This resolution authorizes funding for a part-time public health nurse position and amends the 2026 budget accordingly. The Finance Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on July 7, 2026, and recommended forwarding it to the County Board for approval. Fiscal note, funding for this position will be provided by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services Public Health Infrastructure Grant. Budget amendment increasing the intergovernmental revenue and expenses by $12,352 will be necessary to reinstate the position. This resolution authorizes Finance Director to make the necessary budget amendments to enact the resolution. This is a budget amendment. Passage of this resolution requires 2/3 affirmative vote, 20 of 30 votes from total membership. Mr. Chairman, I move for this resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Jekyll, second by Supervisor Christensen. Questions, discussion? Seeing none, we have the 2/3 vote, we have to vote on our tablets.
Supervisor Quimby? Supervisor Skolitsky? Supervisor Geis? Supervisor Golson?
Yes.
We have 27 yes, 0 no, and 3 absent.
The resolution passes. Resolution authorizing contracting with the Sigma Group for environmental remediation services and delegating budget management authority for the City North redevelopment project and amending the 2026 budget in the administration department.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Resolution number 2026-18. Jefferson County sold approximately 12.1 acres of land from the former County Highway Department to City North Development LLC, a subsidiary of Virtus Development. The county and Virtus entered into a purchase and sale agreement in March of 2023, and closing occurred in March of 2026. There are environmental cases through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources associated with the site. To ensure timely redevelopment and avoid administrative delays, the county requires a designated project manager to oversee the remediation task, coordinate with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, manage soil sampling and disposal activities, and execute change orders related to environmental work. The Sigma Group is already provided environmental technical assistance, including but not limited to Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental site assessments, DNR reporting, and the assistance obtaining DNR case closure, remediation evaluation, petroleum impacted soils remediation and redevelopment budgeting, DNR chapter NR 718 sampling activities, etc. As well positioned to manage the county's remediation activities. This resolution authorizes county administrator to contract with the Sigma Group and grants appropriate budget management authority consistent with the delegation structure previously approved for the Jefferson County Courthouse renovation project. Down below, you can kind of see the estimates of the cost and stuff that way. Fiscal note, this contract will be funded by the general fund for surplus of 2026, which will be sufficient to cover the entire cost of this contract. The resolution authorizes the finance director to make the necessary budget amendments to enact the resolution. This is a budget amendment. Passage of this resolution requires 2/3 affirmative vote, 20 of 30 votes, full membership. Mr. Chair, I move for passage of this resolution.
Moved by Mr. Jaco. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Paulson. Questions, discussion? Seeing none, we have to vote on our tablets.
Supervisor Quimby? Supervisor Skalitsky?
Yes.
Supervisor Geis? Supervisor Golson?
Yes.
We have 27 yes, 0 no, and 3 absent.
Thank you. The resolution passes. Resolution authorizing Jefferson County to submit, enter a contract, accept a WEDC site assessment grant, and create a budget amendment for a former grocery store site in Watertown, Wisconsin, and amending the 2026 budget in the Administration Department. Supervisor Jacob.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 2026-18. The Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation Site Assessment Grant Program provides funding to complete environmental due diligence work that helps advance redevelopment of challenged properties. Jefferson County is seeking SAG funding for the former grocery store at 100 East Katy Street in Watertown, a centrally located property that has been vacant for many years and is well positioned for the new investment. This is a pass-through grant. The county is serving as the applicant while Katy Buildings LLC provides the required match and carries out the project activities. The request is for up to $250,000. Redevelopment of this site aligns with Jefferson County's strategic priorities by supporting diverse housing opportunities, enhancing and promoting quality of life, and encouraging intentional economic growth throughout reinvestment in a long vacant centrally located property. This resolution authorizes Jefferson County to submit, enter contract, and accept WEDC site assessment grant and amends the 2026 budget accordingly. The Finance Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on July 7th, 2026 and recommended forwarding to the County Board for approval. Fiscal note, the grant is a pass-through to a private developer. Please see the attached budget adjustment or amendment request for the proposed adjustments to the 2026 budget. This is a budget amendment. County Board approval requires 2/3 vote of the County Board. Mr. Chairman, I move for adoption of this resolution.
Moved by Mr. Jaco. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Brogler. Questions, discussion? Seeing none, we have to vote on our tablets here.
Supervisor Quimby? Supervisor Skalitsky?
Yes.
Supervisor Geis? Supervisor Golson?
Yes.
We have 27 yes, 0 no, and 3 absent.
The resolution passes. We are quite agreeable here tonight. Okay, on to item 12, Human Resources, resolution adopting Jefferson County Artificial Intelligence Policy. Mr. Brogler.
Resolution number 2026-20. Jefferson County recognizes the transformative potential of artificial intelligence, AI, generative AI, Gen AI, and agentic AI tools to enhance efficiency and service delivery. The attached policy establishes comprehensive guidelines for the responsible, ethical, and secure use of AI technologies by county employees, contractors, elected officials, and volunteers. It aims to harness AI for innovation while safeguarding confidentiality, privacy, data integrity, and transparency. This policy was developed through a collaborative and informed process. The county convened a diverse group of employee stakeholders to provide input on practical needs, risks, and opportunities associated with AI use across departments. In addition, the county engaged with a consultant with specializing expertise in AI to assist in developing policy standards that reflect current best practices and emerging trends. The policy also incorporates insights and feedback gathered from employees who participated in various AI training during the past year, ensuring that it reflects both expert guidance and on-the-ground experience with AI tools. This resolution adopts the attached artificial intelligence policy. The Human Resource Committee considered this resolution at its meeting on June 16, 2026, and recommended forwarding it to the county board for approval. I move for passage.
Moved by Supervisor Brogger. Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Quimby. Questions, discussion? Supervisor Heights.
I had to make notes so that I don't forget to say what I'm going to say. I think an AI policy is great, and I believe that we need to have one. I think because we're thinking about looking at a data center moratorium, that we also need to be thinking about discouraging the use of AI as much as possible when it's not necessary. Section 4, in the stewardship section, I think it is kind of nuanced, and I think it needs to either be strengthened or that in section 6 or 7, we should be mentioning that AI use should be based on need or when AI is critically better than a human. For example, using AI for decorations in a report, social media, or a slideshow is not necessarily the best use of those activities. It's using up the kind of energy that goes into those, that's costing people money when it comes to having to have more sources of energy and a data center. And then the other part of this is sometimes people are generating summaries without reading the reports that they're doing. Those summaries may be missing very important items, or people are using AI for internal memos and things of that nature. I think that there should be, for some of those key documents, et cetera, a guidance that suggests that it should be minimized and that departments should really look at how their staff are using those. Thank you.
Mr. Foster.
So I'm knee deep in this right now anyway with all the other work that I do. So there was a couple things that I was hoping to see in this procedure. And the first one was a process for the employees to actually get involved with new AI type things for their jobs. So having a process for the employees to follow to request new products and then get it to that committee to actually look at the products to see if they're useful or if they're actually going to, be a waste of time, but a way for the employees to actually reach out since they know how to do their job better than most of the people that sit on the different committees. And then the other thing that would be very helpful in here is if you had a way or a web location or some type of location that shows what all is authorized already and who it's authorized for as far as their work sections. Those are the things I saw in there. But the rest of this follows pretty much the governor's guidance on AI as it stands right now.
Supervisor Kaiser.
was wondering if there might not be an additional addendum in here as to what AI is actually typically defined as, or the pieces that we can use or we cannot use, because there are current heads of AI companies or just social media companies in and of itself that are weaving AI through it. So by the definition, based off what I've seen, you could definitely include social media into this as well. So I think that there should be an additional add-on as to what AI is not in terms of social media, and also perhaps an additional part in here when the AI policy, I see that it says whether the device is county-owned or personal. If the AI policy here conflicts with additional AI policies at other jobs as well, I think that should also be taken into consideration, and perhaps an additional signature of some kind as well, because there are a few pieces in here that would conflict, say, with my work, which I do on a governmental level.
Thank you. Mr. Gould.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I'm agreeing with my colleagues that believe that there is a place for an AI policy. I think this, as presented, falls short in a couple of different areas. One of my main concerns is it seems to assume that AI is the direction we're going. And while some people may believe that, I do think that's problematic. One of the issues I'd really like to see addressed in here is the assumption or a preface that says that the county values the skill, expertise, and experience of its human resources first and foremost. And that has to come before any use of AI. That said, I'm curious who the consultant was in developing this policy. And I'm also curious to know if the consultant used AI to develop the policy. I think it's a fair question. AI is self-feeding. It invents, it develops itself. It's, though inanimate, it purports to be animate. I think there are a couple of other problems where we have in the guiding principles in terms of ethical standards. AI will produce and create material that is misleading, that is fraudulent, that is discriminatory, and it will do it in a way with an intent to fool individuals. Has anybody looked at the internet in the last couple of days to see this? I think there's many, many examples of this. To also believe that we can protect data or our information that's derived from AI or that's infused or derived from or with the use of AI, I think is short-sighted. I think when we use this tool, we have fed the machine, we have fed the monster. We put our data into it, AI uses that data, that information to create other information. I don't know how to address all of that, but these are the concerns that I have. I am curious, though, in terms of a response of the consultant used and whether AI was used in creating this. Thank you.
I can answer those questions. So the consultant was Robert Orozco. He's the executive in residence for AI at UW-Whitewater, and he provided these services at no cost. He's been doing that with many different government units. As far as AI usage in developing the policy, AI was not used to write the policy. AI was used to review the policy. So it was run through that system.
Anything, other questions? Mr. Brogler, you had a hand up person.
Great ideas. And when we hashed this over, we realized we were not the end all to this. I was thinking about it tonight as I drove here. Over the years, we've had to come up with a cell phone policy. Way before all of us, there had to be a computer policy. And at the time, we were trying to get ourselves, if not ahead of the game, at least equal with the game. And all of these things are constantly being changed and adapted. And so I realize this is step one, but we need to get it on the books, and then it will never be secure in the fact that it won't ever be changed. It's not written in stone. It's not quite an etch-a-sketch, but it is something where we will be constantly looking and observing and adapting, because as we all know, AI is adapting faster than most of us.
Supervisor Lund.
Thank you, excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with my colleagues, Supervisor Turbo Heights, that I think this policy goes too far in encouraging use of AI, and with my colleague Supervisor Gulig that this is makes an assumption that it's set in stone that you know, AI is a good idea, and I think there's a whole lot of questions about that. As it states in this proposed policy, that if any AI creation has to be reviewed, fact-checked, and corrected if necessary by a human. So my question is then, why should we be so reliant on AI if all of that additional work has to be done? And even further, if humans stop doing analytical work and depend on AI, they're going to stop learning how to do it and learning how to think for themselves. So I think there's a lot of questions that we need to ask along those lines. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anybody else? Then I'll go to a second person. Mr. Gulick.
Yes, thank you again, Mr. Chair. I want to be clear that I respect the work of the committee that put this together, and I can't imagine how difficult it is to come up with a policy like this at this time, for sure. The one question I think that if it were answered would make me feel a bit more comfortable would be an amendment to discuss in the first paragraph on purpose where it says all technologies change and improve rapidly. This policy will change and adapt accordingly. I think putting in a time frame for review, a very specific time frame for review, that we're going to review this policy in a year, in 6 months, you know, at a time, I think would be really helpful. Thank you.
Are you proposing it as an amendment? It'd be amendment to the resolution, not to the policy.
Correct. Sure, I'll put an amendment that we set a time frame for reviewing, set a specific and regular time frame for reviewing the policy.
Do you want to make it a year or 6 months or?
6 months.
If I could just interject, the policy does contain in section 14 that it will be reviewed on a quarterly basis.
Oh, it's even better than 6 months. Thank you for pointing
right,
out
so
that.
it's
I'll withdraw that.
Fair
That
enough.
amendment.
Any other questions or discussion? This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
I think the ayes have it. On to item 13.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, yes, sir.
council referred to section 14? No. Was it
14.
Oh, 14? I thought you said 16. Never mind.
14.
Never mind.
We're on to Law Enforcement Emergency Management Committee. Resolution thanking Johnsonville Sausage for donation of hazardous materials equipment and amending the 2026 budget in the Emergency Management Department. Mr. Morris.
Resolution 2026-21. Hazardous materials, hazmat equipment, is essential to Jefferson County's ability to effectively respond to hazardous materials incidents. The receipt of a substantial equipment donation is transformative for the county, providing significant cost savings by eliminating the need to purchase expensive, specialized gear while enhancing operational readiness. The donated equipment enhances the county's operational capabilities by providing critical tools for the safe identification, containment, and mitigation of hazardous substances during emergencies. This contribution improves responder safety, reduces response times, and increases the overall effectiveness of coordinated multi-agency operations. By expanding available resources, the donation directly supports Jefferson County's ability to manage complex hazmat events, protect public health, and minimize environmental impact. This resolution formally accepts the donation of specialized hazardous material response equipment from Johnsonville Perryway Foods to Jefferson County Emergency Management and amends the 2026 budget accordingly. The Law Enforcement and Emergency Management Committee reviewed this resolution on June 26, 2026, and voted to forward it to the county board for approval. Fiscal note, the value of this equipment is estimated at $12,000. This resolution authorizes the finance director to make the necessary budget amendments to enact this resolution. The equipment has been received by Jefferson County Emergency Management, properly documented, and is being securely stored in the hazardous materials trailer maintained by the Johnson Creek Fire Department under the direction of Chief Ben Patterson, assuring appropriate handling, accountability, and readiness. This is a budget amendment. Passage of this resolution requires a 2/3 affirmative vote, 20 of 30 votes for total membership. Mr. Chair, I move to pass this resolution.
Moved by Supervisor Morris. Do I have a second? Second by Supervisor Kaiser. Questions, discussion? We need a 2/3 vote on our tablets or those that have them.
Supervisor Quimby, Supervisor Skalitsky,
Yes.
Supervisor Geis, Supervisor Golson,
Yes.
27 yes, 0 no, 3 absent.
Resolution passes. Parks Committee, resolution authorizing the purchase of a replacement snowmobile trail bridge funded through the Wisconsin Snowmobile Trail Aid Program and amending the 2026 budget in the Parks Department. Mr. Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have resolution number 2026-22. Jefferson County Parks works in close partnership with the Jefferson County Snowmobile Alliance, whose member clubs maintain over 229 miles of county snowmobile trails. This longstanding collaboration ensures that the Jefferson County Snowmobile Trail System remains safe, functional, and accessible for winter recreation. The Jefferson County Parks Department applied for and received funding through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Snowmobile Trail Aids Program to replace a failing bridge on the county's Corridor 10 near the intersection of State Highway 106 and County Highway J. The proposed purchase of the replacement bridge is covered by the Snowmobile Trail Program at 100%. Through a formal bid process, Custom Manufacturing Incorporated was selected as the lowest qualified bidder at $56,800. This resolution authorizes the purchase of a replacement snowmobile trail bridge and amends the 2026 budget accordingly. The Jefferson County Parks Committee considered this resolution at its June 25th, 2026 meeting and recommended forwarding to the county board for approval. Fiscal note. This $56,800 purchase is covered 100% by the Wisconsin DNR Recreational Snowmobile Trail Aid Program. This project was not included in the 2026 budget. The resolution authorizes the finance director to make the necessary budget adjustments to enact this resolution. This is a budget amendment and requires a 2/3 vote of the Wisconsin board or the county board for approval. Mr. Chairman, even though it's unlikely to think about snowmobiles when it's 100 degrees out, I move for adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Moved by Christensen, second by Gulig. Discussion, questions? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Supervisor Quimby, Supervisor Skalitsky,
Yes.
Supervisor Geis,
Yes.
Supervisor Golson.
Yes.
27 yes, 0 no, 3 absent.
The resolution passes. Takes item 15, Planning and Zoning Committee, zoning report. Mr. Paulson.
Report to the honorable members of the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors. The Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee, having considered petitions to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, filed for public hearing held on February 19th, 2026, and June 18th, 2026, is required by law pursuant to Wisconsin statutes. Notice thereof having been given and being duly advised of the wishes of the town boards and persons in the areas affected, hereby makes the following recommendations. The committee has reviewed and considered the facts presented in the applications and received in public hearing, and finds that the criteria listed in Wisconsin statutes 91.48 and Jefferson County zoning ordinance section 2256B have been met for the below listed petitions. The committee further finds that the petitions are consistent with the Jefferson County Comprehensive Plan and Farmland Preservation Plan. Further support for the committee's recommendations can be found in the staff reports and individual petition files on record in the Planning and Development Office. Approval of petitions as listed, dated this 14th day of July 2026, George Jekyll, Secretary. Which moves us to ordinance number 2026-7.
7.
Whereas the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors has heretofore been petitioned to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County, and whereas petitions as listed were referred to the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Committee for public hearing on February 19th of 2026 and June 18th of 2026, and whereas at its meeting on June 29th, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Committee considered a request to amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County after conducting a public hearing regarding the requested amendment, and after receiving a recommendation from the affected town. Hereby make the following recommendations to the Board of Supervisors in open session. Whereas the Planning and Zoning Committee has found that the criterion standards set forth in 91.48 of the Wisconsin statutes in sections 22 through 56B of the Jefferson County zoning ordinance for rezoning out of A1 exclusive agricultural zone have been met, and the petitions are consistent with the Jefferson County Comprehensive Plan and Farmland Preservation Plan as identified in the decision of the Planning and Zoning Committee. Whereas consistent with the recommendations of Planning and Zoning Committee, the Board of Supervisors finds where applicable the standards set forth in 91.48 of the Wisconsin statutes in sections 22 through 56B of the Jefferson County zoning ordinance for rezoning out of A1 exclusive agriculture zone are met by the proposed amendment to the official zoning map. Therefore, be it ordained that the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors does amend the official zoning map of Jefferson County as listed. I move for the approval of this ordinance.
Moved by Mr. Paulson, second by Mr. Jekyll. Questions, discussions? Mr. Kennard? Okay. Anyone else? Questions, discussion? Mr. Preuss?
I think I should abstain as well.
Okay. That is so noted. 2 abstentions. Anyone else? With that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Passes on voice. Was there one opposed? No. Oh, passes on voice. Okay. Is there any public comment of a general nature? Mr. Brockman.
I just want a huge shout out and a thank you to Becky and her team for a successful Jefferson County Fair.
I was going to mention the same thing. And I also want to thank all the committee members and the work that you do year round, as well as there are so many volunteers that make it work out there. And also the great weather for a change. No rainouts. It wasn't awful blistering hot. It was pleasant. So thank you again, and good luck. And I hope the numbers come in good for you. Thank you. Public comment?
You want to come up to?
Please come up. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Jim Cosgrove. I live in Sullivan. I attended both middle school and high school here in Jefferson. I don't know that I'm in the right place. I don't know that this is relevant to you, but this is my first step in finding out what and where I need to go to find this out. Does this council have anything to do with flock cameras? Was it ever approved by this Jefferson County?
So we can't answer during the public comment section, but after you give your comment, I would be happy to speak with you after the meeting.
Okay. Then I guess I'm pretty much out of, if I can't, mostly I have questions. But to link that into your AI policy you just passed, the high risk and high impact decision in section 3, having to do with materially affecting rights, and then the personal identification information, and then being hooked up directly to AI. a third-party company, a private company based out of Georgia. I just would like to know who has oversight over that and where all that information is going. So if we could talk afterwards, that's fine. Mostly I had questions, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other announcements? Mr. Christensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just another reminder that upcoming on July 23rd, the fourth Thursday of the month, is our third Brew with a View event of 2026. Our last one was great. This time we'll be having, the music will be Soggy Bottom. They've been a favorite in the past. I invite everybody to come out and have a beverage and visit with your friends. Thank you. Soggy Bottom, right? Soggy Bottom.
Any?
Use
Mr.
your
Lucky
own
has an announcement.
imagination.
July 23rd will be a busy day. Hopefully, I'll see you at one of these events, either at Be Worth a View or in the morning, I give a State of the County address to Thrive and JCEDC. So that will be 8:30 on July 23rd in this room. At 8 o'clock, there's going to be an awards presentation for the WEDC Legislator Champions. One of our local legislators won that award. And then that afternoon, I'm heading to Milwaukee to participate in the Biz Times Nonprofit of the Year Collaboration Award. We are a finalist with Community Action Coalition. Jefferson County and QCAC are one of 4 people identified for Nonprofit of the Year collaboration. If any of you would like to attend, I think there are still some spots available at one of the tables. And then my final thing is it's more budget related. So budgets are due from departments to administration by July 27th. We had the budget kickoff meeting. It is much easier to incorporate budget asks early on in the process. So if you, either through committees you serve on or other issues, have requests of staff to include in their budget recommendations to me, please get those to the relevant staff early so they can incorporate them in the process early, and we can avoid any last minute amendments that take a lot more time. So thank you very much.
Any further announcements? Anyone?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion by Mr. Jekyll, second by Mr. Gulick. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Good, we're still sticking together. Thank you.